All right, looks like we got a Dr. Octopus. So this is a big one. So this guy's on the big frame, but he's actually not difficult at all once you just approach it kind of correctly. So again, I'm going to take a moment. I'm just going to go over the instructions and make sure that I'm familiar with kind of the steps, and I can plan my approach. So I'm going to be doing the torso and the legs first. Looks like it wants a head after that. We're going to put in the arms. We're going to build some tentacles. Then we're going to attach those tentacles to Dr. Octopus, put them on a base, and we're going to be happy as can be. So it looks like I'm going to start with part 1 and part 2, which is the 2 parts of the torso. Grab my clippers, make my approaches here. Come up and through just to get a nice little cut. Again, I'm looking for the smallest point with the clippers flush against the part. And it also shouldn't take a whole lot of pressure on most of these connection points. They're all pretty thin. So if you're having to really do some serious handwork to get a part off, you might want to stop and just take a look again at where you've got your clippers, because they might be in the wrong spot. Not always, but they might be. So you shouldn't have to put a lot of elbow grease into it. Just gonna clean up these parts here really quick. Where my ports were, just get those nice and cleaned up. And I happen to have pretty strong hoof nails, as my wife calls them, so I can just kind of scrape with those and help get things clean. Your mileage may vary depending on, your fingernails, but they can be a really nice resource. Just clean up these ports. I'm going to do a quick fit just to make sure that we know where we're going. So we have pegs and holes. So that looks good. Go back. Grab some of our glue, which is rapidly drying out. So we'll have to apply some more. And I'm just gonna, there's a lot of different theories on this. I like to kind of get all the way around the edges, because this will help with that seal. It'll make sure that everything's nice and tight to each other, and everything just bonds together like it's supposed to. So I'm going to take my 2 parts, now that I know that they go together. Give it a tight little push, and I'm just going to hold. I'm going to give that a second to set up. So really the reason you do this is that a lot of times you'll get a good bond, but sometimes the parts will naturally want to pull away from each other. So you just want to wait until that glue has mostly fully set up. And then that will make sure that everything is nice and flush, nice and tight. And I like to turn it once or twice just to look at my seams and to make sure that everything's looking really nice. And while I wait, I might come in and do a little bit of scraping. If I notice that there might be a little bit of a mold line or something, just get a little more flush. All right. I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. Step 2, I'm going to grab the head, which is part 7. And is right here on the frame. I'm going to clip that off. Again, I'm just going to do a little bit of cleanup. Just make sure that peg will fit in nice and tight into its key. This guy, a little bit of a mold line on his neck. So I'm just going to take a moment and scrape that off. All right. Whoop. All right. So this is all ready. Back to our glue. A little bit more in. I grab this. Just check my fit. And there we go. So I'm gonna grab some glue, I'm just gonna plop it inside his little neck hole. Look at that. Beautiful. And then just push that on, give it some firm pressure. Let it glue up. All right, there we go. He's got a head. Now he needs some arms and some legs. And that is step 3. So we're gonna go after part number 8, which is right here. And then we're gonna go after part number 11 and 14, which are the boots. So we'll just start, we'll clip out part number 8. Set that down. I'm gonna do the boots one at a time so that I don't get them mixed up while they're on the table. Not that that would be a big deal. It's pretty easy to tell which way they go in because of the keys, but it'd just be simpler for me if I can just have one on the frame still. So I'm gonna clip off part number 13, which is his left boot. So that boot's gonna go right here, like that. Let me go ahead and give that a clean. Just gonna scrape away these lines here. That looks good. Give it some pressure. We're gonna have one foot on. Dr. Octopus, he puts on his shoes one at a time, just like everyone else. He just happens to have little robot tentacles that do it for him. That's the only difference. The only difference between Doc Ock and everyone else in the world. Just a nice, gentle little mad scientist. Take that, we're gonna trim it up. I'm just gonna clean these parts again. We're in a Zen moment. Best part about assembly is just relaxing and enjoying. All right, slap that on, give it a little pressure, make sure that glues up. You might notice when you're using plastic cement, depending on the type you're using, if you're using the thick stuff, sometimes it'll spiderweb on you. And those things really aren't a problem, just brush them away, they go right away. They don't hurt anything. You just want to make sure that you kind of get rid of them before you get to painting, so they'll get in the way that way. All right, now I'm going to clean up the arms now that we've got a firm foundation of legs to stand on. Whoop. Come back here, little man. This knife needs a new blade. All right, we're gonna just clean up this arm a little bit from the mold lines. Okay. That looks pretty good. Do a quick little test fit here. So we've got 3 different keys, 3 different spots for those keys. So this fit should be pretty easy. Just gonna take a little bit of a push because we wanted that fit to be tight. So that's all right. I'm gonna go grab some glue and I'm just going to rub a little bit on each of those little keys because I want a nice, strong bond. There we go. Okay. Grab those arms. We're just gonna, again, give it a little bit of push. Oop. Go on there. There we go. A little bit of pressure. These things basically just snap right in. They're so nice. There we go. Just gonna give it a little bit of a tighten up. Push. Let that bond. Okay. All right. There we go. Arms and legs attached. Now on to the mechanical octopus arms. So I'm going to take a look here. Looks like for step 4, I'm going to want to grab part 3. Oh. So looking at this, it looks like I'm going to want, for step 4 specifically, I want part number 9, which is this one right here. Just going to clip it off the frame really quick. And then I'm going to want a part number 17, it looks like. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to clip that off. Check my fits really quick. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. Do a little bit of cleanup here. Just a little bit. Check my edges, but there's really no mold lines on this. Maybe just a little scrape there just because I'm feeling saucy. A little scrape on the other side. Look over here. A little scrape here. You can swap the open and the closed hands without kind of any additional work. The arms themselves are keyed to the back, so you'll notice these different holes here. So they do have keys. So for example, like this one, I believe goes right here. So you can see how it kind of keys in. Now, it's a really simple deal to just clip off the keys and then glue the little parts so they're flush. It's just a little extra hobbing effort, but it's absolutely something that you can do very easily. And I'm sure a lot of people will, just to kind of get that right Doc Ock look. But if you're just following the instructions, the keys are kind of designed to help you do that. And a lot of that was just for, people are new to the hobby, because we're hoping that we get a lot of people who have never assembled a miniature before, getting into it and having fun with the game and with painting and building. And so, because of that, we wanted to kind of give people a guidepost and make it easy up front. And I say that, and it looks like this arm specifically wants an open hand. So I guess we'll grab part number 5. We'll clip that off. And now we have these little hanger-on bits that are just there for balance in the casting process. But they're not supposed to be there, so we're going to take those off too. And I'm just going to grab my knife, do a little bit of cleaning. But yeah, one of the real fun things about, assembling miniatures and everything else is once you really start to get into it and you get a little more confident, you can do a lot of things with a knife and glue. It's pretty amazing. Especially on plastic miniatures like these are. You can modify them, you can do little things, you can do big things. For example, if you had some other kind of object you wanted Captain Marvel to be flying on, you could just clip the little key off of her foot and glue her to whatever your heart desires that you think looks cool. You can change head positions by clipping off the head keys and moving them around. There's just all kinds of possibilities. So it can be pretty awesome and a lot of fun to kind of just live that out. So that's going to be great. So we're just going to slap some glue on there. We'll just push that together. And we got ourselves a tentacle. So tentacle 1, done. On to tentacle 2. This one looks like a pretty easy one because this is just going to be our full tentacle. So 3 of the tentacles come in 2 parts, and one of the tentacles comes completely in one part, and that part is number 10, and that's this tentacle right here. So we're just gonna snip this guy off the frame, and then we're gonna do a quick clean, and we'll attach his hand on him, and life will be good. So just clean up that key really quick. Clean that up. Get this little piece of frame that came with us after our snip. Give it a quick run with the knife. All right, so that piece is ready. This tentacle is going to get part number 6, which is another one of the open gripper hands. So we'll snip that off the frame. We'll get rid of these 2 extra balance bits, because you don't belong there. No, you don't. You are supposed to go away. Grab this little knife. Just a bit easier to get in there. I'm just doing some firm pressure on this because I'm trying to get rid of that excess material because it's hard to get the clippers like right in there. So this isn't so much a scrape as it is like a cut, but all I'm doing is just letting the knife kind of bite, and then I'm just turning my hand gently, and I'm not overdoing it. You just don't force anything. That's never a good idea. Just kind of let it go, and then I'm just going to go back in and do a little bit of scrape cleanup. But otherwise, I think that looks great. So we're going to check this really quick just to make sure I know how it goes on. Just like that. Oh, it looks so good. All right. And then we're going to loop these little guys on. Give it some glue. Find that join. Little firm press. The glue set up. Set that to the side. Tentacle number 2 is done. All right, so for tentacle number 3, looks like we're going to want part 3, which is right here. So we'll just snip that off the frame. Then, looking at our pieces here, it looks like we're going to want a part number 19. Maybe 18. Let's take a look. Let's look at our instructions one more time. Yeah, okay. So we're going to part 18, not 19. I need to learn to read better. There we go. Snip this guy off. Again, we'll do a quick test fit here just to make sure that we got it right. Oh yeah, perfect. Always good to double check your instructions, because even when you've built lots of Dr. Octopuses, you still will always forget. All right, I'm gonna go back to my big knife here. I'm just gonna do some quick scraping to get rid of a little bit of mold line. Ooh. All right, so there we go. Do a quick little cleanup on this one. Again, just a really light scrape. I'm just kind of letting the blade do all the work. The plastic, the mold lines are so thin, they don't have a lot of strength to them. So just a quick right over does all the work you need to. And then a quick little blow at the candle's breath, get rid of all the extra shavings, and you're good to go. So we already test fit this one, so we know that's going to work, but I need more glue, because all of this assembly is taking a while, and I need a new toothpick. All right, here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to put my little bit of glue right here on the edge. find my spot. So I've got my keys. Put them together, just gently at first. Watch my fingers so I don't get glue on them. I'm going to push. Oop. There we go. All right, there we go. So now there's a little bit of assembly for the closed fists because two of the little fingers start together and then one of the little fingers goes on top. So these are all part, so we're going to grab part 15. Boop. And then you get 4 12s. So all the single fingers are all the same part, so it doesn't matter which one you use. And there's some extras on there just in case you make a mistake or lose one or, you know, want to add extra fingers, I guess. You can do that too. Nobody's going to stop you. He's your Doc Ock. You make him how you want. But I'm just going to follow the instructions. So we're going to clean this up really quick. Clean this piece up really quick. Make sure that we're happy with that. Looks great. So this finger is just going to slot right on top of this one, like so. And then we're going to be able to glue that right on. So I'm just going to grab this, put a little bit of glue there. I think that's all the glue I'm going to use for this. So I'm going to hold this between these two fingers, and I'm going to make the piece magically disappear, kind of. Push together. And push back just a little bit. Now that I got a good grip. And you're kind of looking to just line up everything with the key, like so. Give it a good push. And this is one of those times where, because these pieces are basically the same, I'm going to let this dry a little bit, and I'm going to go on to the next tentacle, because I don't want to try to put the male key into this and have it pop apart on me because my glue just isn't dried yet. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to put this one with the tentacle it goes to, and I'm going to jump to the next tentacle, the last tentacle. That was the penultimate tentacle. This is the final tentacle. The final tentacle. That doesn't quite work. But this is what happens when you hang out, you know, assembling miniatures. Eventually you'll just start singing to yourself. So this time, because I only have these last parts, I'm going to go a little bit quicker because I know what I'm doing. I've done this assembly once. So I'm just going to clip out all the parts. Keep them right there. And do a really quick clean. And the thing is, you know, how much or how little you care about the mold lines before you put paint on the miniature is up to you. It's always best to take that little bit of extra time and enjoy the assembly process and the cleaning process because you're making these characters. Like, this is something that you get to do, and this Doc Ock will always be mine. I'll look at him and I'll be like, I built that Doc Ock. Everything about him that makes him unique, that makes him different from all the other Doc Ocks, is because of me. And that's one of the really cool things about miniatures hobbies in general, is that you can have the same character, the same miniatures set, like all this stuff, and it doesn't matter because all those little touches are yours. No one puts miniatures together the same, in the exact same way, and definitely nobody paints them the exact same way. Even if you painted 3 Doc Ocks in a row, each Doc Ock would be slightly different. And each of those differences would just be your mark. The fact that it's your Doc Ock. There's something really cool about that. There's something really fun about that ownership. And it's really enjoyable if you just let yourself live in that moment where you're building these awesome Marvel characters and kind of putting your own mark on stuff. All right, so we're just going to start assembling this tentacle here. Start with the glue. Slide back over here. I did a really terrible job of cleaning that, so I'm just going to go back and fix that really quick. Just a little bit of pressure to get that flush. Perfect. I'll just, oh no, slipped. There we go. There we go. All right, set that aside really quick and let it dry before I get into trouble here. Just gonna take my glue, run it over like that. Slide this little finger on. So the way I like to approach that is I'll just have the finger press too far forward, like that. And then I'll push until I feel that key bite. And it's a little easier than trying to line the thing up perfectly to begin with or trying to go off of the little sides. So you can just start with that finger a little bit far forward and then you can just push back and the key will stop you from going too far back. So you'll know it's set when it doesn't move anymore. And that's kind of a nice way to handle these littler pieces here with your fingers. So I'm going to set this one aside. We're going to go back to this guy because he's all good to go. And we're going to give him his little gripper fingers. Because what good is a robo tentacle without gripper fingers? Its whole point is to grab things. You can't grab things without fingers. Take a look. You're going to see that there's a flat part right here on the key, and there's a flat part right here. And so just stick that on. We have one complete. Come back here, and I think my glue is dry enough for this to work without it popping open on me. So I'm just going to put some glue right there. I'm just going to put it on the ends because as I slide this piece over, again, I'm looking for the flat and the flat, which is right here, it looks like. It's going to push the glue back, and so that's just going to help me spread the glue without having to worry about like trying to get all our way around and everything. And there's that tentacle ready to go. And now, the moment of excitement, we're going to match up the tentacles and we're going to slot them in. So, the first one that I grabbed is going to be this tentacle right here. So all you're going to do is you're just going to match up the keys. So this was the tentacle that we built in step 5. So the step 5 tentacle has this kind of round peg with a flat end. It's going to go right here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Just going to grab some glue, plop it in there. Dr. Octopus coming to play. Slight bit of pressure. This is the other thing too, there's a little bit of wiggle room in those keys, and that's intentional because we want you to be able to kind of position the tentacles the way you want, even if you're keeping them to the same spot. So like I can bring it up a little bit, I can bring it closer to his body. I've got just enough play that I can kind of mess with that tentacle to make it look the way I want it to. But it's still not going to let you like go all the way around or get in the way of the other tentacles. There's just a little bit there. So the next one I'm going to grab is going to be the tentacle we built. Which one is this? This is going to be this one down here. Looks like yes, no, no, no. Here's this tentacle. Clearly, yes. All right. So this is the tentacle we built in step 8. And this one's going to go right up here like that. So I'm just going to grab my glue. Looking at the instructions, they'll tell you everything that you want to know. And I'm Slide. Oh, too much glue there. That's okay. There. And I'm going to take a little toothpick. And I just got a little bit too zealous with the glue, so I'm just going to grab a clean toothpick and I'm just going to kind of pull around. And I want to be careful because I don't want to denature, I don't want to mess with the plastic that's kind of melting from the glue right now. But I just want to smooth that out a little bit so I don't get bubbles. There. 2 tentacles down, 2 to go. So we'll grab the tentacle we made in step 7, and this tentacle is going to go in this little slot right here. So I'm just going to check that really quick and make sure I know how I want it to fit. All right, it looks like I missed a little bit from my clipping, so I'm just going to scrape that down so I get a nice clean fit. Grab some glue, of which I'm almost out again, but that's all right, we got a whole bottle. I'll grab this guy and just slide him in. Easy peasy. 3 down, 1 to go. He's Dr. What's the term for 7? 6 is Octopus, but 7 is something weird. It's like Septopus? I think it's Septopus. All right, let's take Octopus and make him an octopus. Perfect. Look at that. All right, so there's a Doc Ock. A Dr. Octopus, Dr. Otto Octavius, ready to cause some Spider-Man mayhem. We just have to give him a base. He is the other character in the core set, so there's 2 of them that come in on 50mm bases. It's Dr. Octopus and Ultron. So we're going to grab our 50mm base, and Dr. Octopus, he seems like a coffee drinker, right? He probably drinks coffee. So I think we're going to go ham. We're going to go real crazy here. We're going to have Dr. Octopus, we're going to give him 2 coffee cups because he really had to caffeinate up before this fight with, well, we all know, Spider-Man. So it was an early call after a lot of late night heisting. And so he had to double his caffeine intake. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to grab some glue here, put it on the feet, on the foots, get it on the foots, decide where we want him to go. Dallas probably would be like, why would you do this? But I kind of want to put him up on the curb. There we go. Now he's higher than everybody else. That seems like a Dr. Octopus thing. He'd definitely want to be higher than everybody else. And then we're just going to give him some coffee cups here. So I'm just going to take that. I'm going to put one right there. I'm going to take another one. And we're going to give it that old classic garbage lean. There you go, like they're stacked on each other. Look at that. Oh no, I tipped it over as I was trying to pick it up. Come here, little coffee cup. Maybe we won't have a stack. We'll just let entropy do its work. There we go. All right. And there we go. Completed Doc Ock. Dr. Octopus ready to go with his 2 cups of coffee that he just drank and threw on the ground, taunting our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, who is anti-litter bug. Anti-litter bug.